Friends, how are you doing? Welcome to Dealing with Money Channel 2. This is the new channel that I'm trying to get up and running here. Please subscribe if you want to listen to me talk about a little more. I'm not going to talk about a lot of things I talk about on the main channel. I'm going to talk about a little more, let's say, more difficult investments, weirder plays here, maybe some stocks that have high potential in the future, but are a little more on the risky side right now. Probably things that a lot of people aren't even talking about on YouTube. But they're going to be maybe some dangerous plays out there. But those are going to come. But right now, I want to talk about Robinhood. I want to talk about Tempus because I'm so busy on the main channel talking about Big Bear, Palantir, SoFi, some other things right there. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. And let's go. It's me. Let's talk. So first, going into Robinhood here, I am such a believer in what Robinhood is doing here, and Robinhood is making a lot of changes. I think a lot of us saw what was coming here for the future with Robinhood, and it's happening really fast at this point. So Robinhood pretty much announced here not long ago that, obviously we know it as a trading platform. They've had, the whole credit card situation, bank card, you can hold money with them, all that kind of stuff. But now they're saying, hey, we are really focusing on becoming a major bank. This is, essentially, and they're not focused on brick and mortar stores. So, like Robinhood and SoFi, I look at right now as like two top tier competitors with each other. And both of them have focused on different things at different times. Robinhood came up here really focusing on a trading platform. We've been using Robinhood for God knows how long at this point now. Maybe almost, we're getting close to a decade, if not a decade. 2006, 15, 14, how long has it been around now? So now you have Robinhood going, hey, now we're really going to push into the banking system. And that comes with a whole slew of different tentacles into situations. Okay, and they've already got a huge basis, a customer basis. That's why quarterlies are multiplying like, wildfire right now. And then, SoFi is this company that really came in as a, student loan program. But SoFi, the last 5-6 years, really focused and made some strong pillars for them becoming a huge bank, and now they've really pushed into that. And SoFi now you're starting to see them go into like, hey, you can buy stocks with us, hey, you can buy crypto with us. So this is why you have SoFi and Robinhood here, who are 100%, I believe, they're versing each other. And I think that's good. I think competition is good. So it's going to help both of them and really a lot of it. And they're not focused on brick and mortar stores. They're focused on technology, where they're at, where they can push, people to go for them individually as investors, having a bank account, all that kind of stuff. So, Robinhood in general, and Robinhood just went under a huge development, making the app better. Now, they have a candlestick chart situation on there where I think I know like two people that use Robinhood as like a day trading tool now, who are, because they have that feature now. So Robinhood here, when we talk about the quarterlies here, we talk about the financials, we're essentially 20 days out at this point from Q2 with Robinhood, okay? Now, this is going to be a very interesting quarterly because obviously, the last two quarterlies that have come out here with Robinhood have been the biggest they've ever had. That Q4 in 2024, they broke over $1 billion. Everyone went, holy friggin' smokes. And that is the top tier pillar right there that has helped push Robinhood into this huge stock price. And what we've seen so far, pretty much we're into $100 at this point. And then Q1 of this year still was huge. I mean, they came in at $927 million. So this one, more than likely, I don't even think a lot of investors are too worried about like what, are they going to hit $1 billion? At this point, Robinhood has proven something. It's proving that it is moving at a very fast rate. It is proving that it has already beaten a lot of challenges. It has skipped ahead, a few spaces here to where it's in this new revenue stream. We went from the beginning of 2024 with Robinhood being around $600 million, $500 million revenue stream per quarterly, to now we're talking could be $1 billion, could be 900 million and some change. Okay, that's great. That is a huge walk up there. That is, they just knocked off some years with growth, 100%. So that's why you're seeing such an inflow right now of investors go like, okay, I got to get in here. Why? This is getting hot. This is getting out of control. So Robinhood 100% is growing as a stock. It's growing as a company with everything. And Robinhood, if you know me, I'm a huge investor with SoFi. And there are things I see with Robinhood, even the CEO, where I get a little jealous, where I'm like, man, I really wish, SoFi was kind of getting the attention that Robinhood gets. And because Robinhood, obviously, I love SoFi. I'm not in here speaking bad of it, so don't think that. But, I think Robinhood is, it's a lot more. It's a sexier stock. It's a funner situation because there's so much, going on with it. And it's a trading platform, and they've got a lot of revenue coming in here. So it's more of a wild card right now of what's the quarterly going to be. And investors like that, whether they want to admit that or not. They're like, man, this quarterly could be really big, or it could just be either way. It's going to be in this new tier system with revenue. So what you have right now is just kind of this situation where I don't know that you're ever going to see Robinhood at this point, unless quarterlies were to get a lot rougher. If they were to sell back down into the $750, $800 million quarterly range, which I don't see coming at this point from the partnerships, the continuation into them, software technology, where they're going. I just find that hard to believe. I think Robinhood has pushed forward into this new top tier with investors, where you're starting to see it become part of ETFs. For it as an individual stock, it's going to continue to grow because the expectation is undoubtedly very high right now with Robinhood. So I think that it's a very safe conversation to say like $100 for Robinhood at this point is really not that big of a deal. It's really not. I think probably within a year's time, a lot of people are going to look at Robinhood and go, God, I wish I would have bought more Robinhood. I wish I would have bought Robinhood. And that's the thing. When Robinhood came to market here, it was a expensive stock. And then, a lot of people got stuck in Robinhood when it first came. I'm talking like first came to market, if you remember that. And then there was a huge collapse in the stock. And then Robinhood went through this moment in time where a lot of people were just downgrading it, beating it up. And that's such a true thing you see in the market with a lot of stocks, with a lot of companies, where, there's always this thing, there's like always this aroma where when things, as an investor, like this should work. Why is this not working? This is good. All the elements have lined up, the stones are lined up here. Why are they not working? And then people, especially when people start beating something up, talking bad about it. And that's what was happening with Robinhood there for a season. But I think a lot of us knew, like, this is going to get better. Look what this company's doing. Look at what they're focusing on. It's got to get better. Well, the people that kept pushing into Robinhood, kept, staying with it, well, it paid off for them. It paid off for them 100%. Think about Palantir, for God's sakes. Two years ago, I remember when I was talking about Palantir on here, people are like, Palantir, it's a $8 stock. Don't listen to this guy. I've said this time and time again, but there is when you've been in the market for a while and you get the aroma, the smell of a good situation, it's hard to get it out of your nose. It just stays with you. And Robinhood undoubtedly has been one of those really good aroma smelling stocks for quite some time now. But it's been, this past, 8 months, almost a year now, it's been getting a lot of the recognition that I think it deserves. But it's met evaluation, but now we're in the situation of it's a little bit of it is a situation where the price is getting very expensive because it's turning into I think I'm just going to pull the trigger and I'm going to keep buying this. And, trading is becoming more intense with the stock each day. So, friends, what I'm trying to say is, I, I, I think 5 years from now, when you look back on Robinhood, it's pretty safe to say, I think it's going to work out very well for you. Robinhood undoubtedly will, the stock price, the stock itself, will have dividends attached to it one day. If they're going to continue to push into this situation of where they're at, quarterlies are rising at an unbelievable rate right now. If this continues this year with them being in this new revenue stream and pushing into higher numbers, undoubtedly a handful of years from now, if not sooner, they will attach a dividend to their stock, of course. But stock price wise, this is going to do well for you. This is going to do well for you. Look at this as a long play. This is a healthy, fantastic play for you. So Tempus, just talking about Tempus, I'm a huge fan of Tempus, and I'm a huge fan of Tempus because Kathy Woods is a huge fan of Tempus, and guess who else is a huge fan of Tempus? Nancy Pelosi. Nancy. If Nancy's buying it, I would say a lot of us are buying it. I don't know if maybe they're just selling chicken nuggets over there at Tempus. I don't think a lot of us care. We just know if Nancy's buying it, we're going to buy it. Who cares? But all in all, jokes aside, Tempus here is in a situation where they will also be releasing quarterlies here August 5th, around that time zone. And two, with that, Tempus there's a lot of expectation around Tempus. Obviously, the first big brick here to be put in place with Tempus that really got it going and set up here for this big run that it has found itself in is that it was the investment by Nancy Pelosi. A lot of people did not know what Tempus was. I didn't even know. I don't think I fully knew what Tempus was until that Nancy Pelosi stuff started with the options on it. And then Kathy Woods came in with an investment. Then Kathy Woods has done several interviews about Tempus where she's highly expecting it to be a fierce contender, with what it is as a company in the future here. So, with that, I do believe that when this quarterly comes out with Tempus, this is going to be a really strong indication of maybe this is what was coming. So I've said this before that, one thing that we can look back on when Nancy places she plays a stock, okay? And obviously, I will say this because I know this sounds completely ridiculous. I know Nancy Pelosi is not on her phone or on her computer physically buying the stuff. I know she's got a stock person, all that kind of stuff. So let me say that, okay? But with that, there is this thing that we can trace with Nancy. And I'm using her as an outline right now because I think there could be a telltale sign that's coming here. So with Tempus, quarterlies are good. They're not crazy, but they're good. I think there's more hype, expectation of what is coming here with Tempus. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. If you're willing to take the time and risk with it, it's paid off quite a bit for people. And it's probably going to, it's going to push up here closer to quarterlies, back into the $70, $80 range. Undoubtedly, that's probably going to happen. Okay, great. But with that, what do we know about Nancy's past history with investments? We know that they take time. Nancy was one of these people who, is famous for, she placed huge money in Nvidia back some time ago. And when she did this, if you were really in the stock market, you knew what Nvidia was. A lot of people, Nvidia just didn't show up here a year ago. And now today, becoming the most, richest company in the world at this point, beating out everyone. They're a $4 trillion company today. 4 years ago, Nvidia was making around $8 to $10 million per quarterly. Okay, and that's a lot of money even then. But there was a lot of people that were in the market, that were making videos about it then. I remember hey, there's still more to come. This company is really focusing on this chip situation that really even 3-4 years ago, no one was really talking about chips in the market. We were like, chips. Everyone was focusing, and that was during the Biden administration. So everyone was really focusing on EV companies, green companies, corn turned into fossil fuel gas, those kind of companies because they were rolling. And a lot of them were terrible companies. They weren't making any money, but they were rolling because of the expectation of what they could be with if Biden keeps pushing these bills and all this stuff. They'll get these supplements and all this, yada, yada, yada. We saw Nancy at in this time zone, not too long ago, really push into NVIDIA. Well, then NVIDIA starts really coming out with these huge quarterlies, these contracts, where people are going, what the heck? Now, NVIDIA has turned into what it's turned into. And then, Nancy did multiple pushes into NVIDIA. She just didn't do one. Now, NVIDIA is releasing 40, probably soon enough, $50-60 billion quarterlies. $50-60 billion quarterlies. Is that not the craziest thing to say? Why I say all that is because it seems to be that sweet Nancy here, Grandma Nancy, she knows things way before they happen. So I say all that to say that Tempus 100%, yes, the inner workings of the company, phenomenal. When you really dig into it, AI, healthcare, all that, really neat. I'm a huge believer in CRISPR. Tempus, it's got Nancy attached to it. It's also got Kathy Wood and some other big investors that aren't as well known. I say out to say that maybe there's something coming out with Tempus that we don't know about yet. Maybe there's a secret contract. Maybe there's a secret potion that's being worked on. We don't know. But Nancy knows. And I think that's where a lot of investors are with it. The backup, the comfortable situation with it is that it's a good company. They're making good money, decent money. They are, going up in revenue. Kathy Woods believes in the company. But the one golden ace with the company right now, it was and it is, will she push more into it? What's going to happen? What's going on here? Friends, I wish all of you best of luck. I really do mean that. I think this is an amazing moment to be an investor. I think that, undoubtedly we are going to see wild things continue into the market here. Undoubtedly. Wild things. So with all that said, I want to wish all of you best of luck. Thank you so much for being on the second channel here. Please subscribe. I'll get this channel up and running, and I'm excited. I'm very excited. Friends, take care of yourself. Bye, everyone.